Hey guys, a while back, me and Justin filmed a video answering some of the most common questions we get about pregnancy, Jackson, stuff like that. And I gave you guys an opportunity, if you wanted to leave comments asking more questions and I would answer them. Some people sent me messages like privately on social media. I feel like sometimes people get like nervous about leaving comments. I don't know, because I don't know, like I'm an open book. I'll ask anything, I'll say anything, I'll talk about anything, but some people don't like leaving that in a public place. So I did get some messages and I'll go through those too, but first I want to go through the comments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link that video below. So how are you going to explain having fibro to Jackson, and how hard will it be to take care of a newborn with it and a toddler? So that's a really good question, and I've actually had a lot of people tell me that they're considering not even having kids because of their fibro. It kind of scares them. My fibro, before I knew what it was, I had it when I was a teacher and also when I did like nanny jobs and stuff like that, and it's not the same as having a child with you all the time. I'm very, very aware of that, and it was a big part of the reason I had to stop working at schools and stuff like that. It was too much, but at the same time I also had a lot of kids. I've worked with different ages from newborns all the way to pre-K. I went to school for an elementary education degree. I hated working with older kids. It sounds terrible, but I hated it, and I went back into working with younger ones. It's not that I hated the kids or anything like that. It's just the age that I love are toddlers. I just love that age group. Anyways, my point to all this is I have worked with toddler ages and babies while experiencing fibro, because I did kind of go back to that. I also worked as the director of education at a preschool after going back after having gone to school and stuff. And that was just like writing lesson plans and helping the teachers understand like what the kids need to do and reviewing their lesson plans and stuff like that. But my point is I have worked with a lot of toddlers at once with fibro, and it's very overwhelming and it's extremely hard. I don't really know how I'll do with Jackson when he's older. I'm sure there'll come a point where, you know, he'll probably grow up like knowing about my fibro, because there'll be times like when I have to use my cane that he'll probably be like, why does mommy have a cane? And we'll talk to him about it, you know. But I'm not like, I don't know if there'll be like one big conversation where we talk about it. I feel like as he grows, it'll just be something he grows up with. You know, mommy has this, but I want to make it important that it doesn't affect his life too much. I don't really, like, honestly, Justin's like, you're gonna be fine. I get really nervous because I have these nightmares about, I've had them from like before we even start trying to conceive, that I have a baby and I can't wake up in the middle of the night, or I forget to wake up with it, or I don't feed it. It's just this anxiety I have, and I know I'm not gonna do that, but I do have anxieties about that I like forgot to feed my baby or something. And I don't know if that's fibro related, just anxiety, but it is like a fear I always have. So I am I'm not so much worried about the toddler side of it, because I have a lot of people in our life that just like, they're like, can you just, I'll take Jackson whenever you need. And like grandparents are super excited about helping. Although it's very important to me that grandparents' time is spending time with your grandma, not me dumping my kid on you all the time. I have strong feelings about that, but I do have plenty of people that will help if I'm in a flare. So I'm not too stressed about that. But also Justin never takes sick days. Like, he never takes sick days. So he has a ton of sick days that get rolled over, and if he has to use them, he will. I'm not really too worried about the newborn part of it. I don't sleep much anyway. So I feel like that's not gonna be like a huge change for me. You know, people with fibro, we have insomnia. We might get 3 hours of sleep a night, maybe. So I'm not too worried about that. I think I'm more worried about just the anxiety of making sure I do everything I can right for my baby. And I know I will, because I know you get like mom superpowers when you have a baby. Like, all my friends talk about it, like they can hear like a baby squeak and they're just like up out of bed, they're good, they're taking care of their baby. So I know that like a lot of like my natural instincts will come out. I'm not really worried about that, but I'm hoping throughout Jackson's life my fibro doesn't really affect him too much. And I don't think it'll be like one big conversation where we talk about it, but I do think like throughout his life, he'll just know about it. I hope like no one ever makes fun of him because his mom has a cane sometimes, or, you know, stuff like that. So basically I think it'll have its challenges, but I think it'll be a lot easier than when I worked with like 30 toddlers versus just one, even though we'll be here all the time and be with me all the time. But I do have a lot of support in place and people will be willing to help. And if I need to, I can find somebody that, like a college student, that if I need them can come to the house and help out. My neighbor, her daughter does babysitting, so I know I can pay her to help if I'm having like a flare. But I think it'll be okay. I'm not too stressed or worried about it. Like I said, my big thing is like paranoid somehow I'll forget a feeding or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why, like I've never had that issue when I took care of my niece as a baby. I got up for every night feeding, but for some reason, when it comes to like my own child, I've had this anxiety and this nightmare where I always forget to feed the baby. It's strange, but hope that answers your question. So the next question is basically, do I have dreams about Jackson, like how he'll look or what he'll be like when he talks, or like that would get me more excited about, you know, meeting him. The strange thing is so many of my friends before, like during pregnancy, dream about their baby. And I haven't dreamed of like what he'll be like at all. And it's funny because before I was pregnant, I would have dreams all the time about if I had a baby, what they would look like. I had one that reoccurred that was so weird. It was always a little boy and he was always like, I'm very pale. Okay, imagine somebody paler than me. He was extremely pale. He had bright blue eyes like I do, but like jet black hair. He looked like a little baby vampire, and I don't know why and he was so fat and chubby. I would have that dream so much, and I remember in my dream, like I loved that baby so much. Like it was so intense, and when I would wake up, I'd almost be like, where's my baby? Like, I don't know, it was a recurring dream I always had, and I have had no dreams about what Jackson will be like, and I know that's like a really common thing, and I'm almost like, is that weird that I haven't dreamed that yet? Maybe it'll come later in pregnancy, but I haven't. Mostly my dreams are insane, crazy pregnancy dreams, or insanely scary, or some kind of anxiety dream, but I haven't been lucky enough to have any dreams about him as a baby or what he'll be like when he's older. I really wish I would, because it's so funny because Crystal, my friend Crystal, dreamed of Liam, her baby, before she had him, and he was just like, in her dream, he came out just like that. Like she dreamed he had an insane amount of hair, and that kid has like so much hair. And I'm like, I want to dream about Jackson, but I haven't had one yet. No, not yet, but I would be super excited if I did. Somebody asked, do I plan to bottle feed Jackson? This is what I like know about kids. I can plan a lot of things, but that doesn't mean they're gonna happen like that. And especially like, I always thought I would have like a hospital plan and stuff like that, but having seen a bunch of my friends from our Trying to Conceive group and friends in real life that have gone through labor recently, nothing goes as planned. So I'll kind of have a few things, like I don't want Justin to leave the baby's side, like Justin always needs to stay with the baby. You know what I mean? There's just like a few things I have, but I don't really have a birth plan. So when it comes to like bottle feeding and stuff, it's kind of the same thing. I would love to breastfeed, but we kind of have an idea of how we would do feedings. So I probably would like, because I know Justin's gonna want to feed him too. Like that's a bonding thing he wants to. So I would love to be able to breastfeed and give him, you know, pump and be able for other people to feed him with a bottle, you know, just so that they could have that, you know, sweet moment with him. At first, I'm gonna try to stay just on the breast, but I mean, sometimes you have problems with milk, and I have no idea what's gonna happen. Ultimate dream, breastfeeding, and probably a month in, let him start having a bottle, and hopefully no nipple confusion. But I don't know. I would like to breastfeed. I would like to also be able to pump so I can store, and you know, so I can do bottles so Justin can feed him and have that. And we kind of have a plan once if he takes bottles and he's okay with it, and okay going back and forth, because a lot of my friends' babies do absolutely fine going back and forth. When I worked in the nursery, at a preschool, moms would come in and breastfeed at lunchtime, but the kids also got bottles, and they all seem to do okay, so I'm not too stressed about that. But I know nipple confusion happens. I know you can't plan anything with a baby really, because you can't control things like that. But yeah, I do plan on using bottles, hopefully, but also breastfeeding. But I plan on, and I had another question, was I planning on breastfeeding? So just kind of like wrap this all in together. Yeah, I plan on that hopefully happening. We also have a schedule planned for night times once he's like a month or two older, because of how Justin and I's sleep patterns kind of are. We have something kind of in mind that we're probably gonna do, and I'm not gonna go into it unless it works for us. But yeah, so hopefully he will take bottles, but also breastfeed too, because I know it's gonna be it's important bonding for like, Justin's gonna wanna feed him a bottle, you know, and like, I'm sure like my in-laws are gonna want to do that, and I'm sure like my dad and stepmom will want to feed him. So it might not be right away, but eventually I'll probably introduce bottles, but hopefully we'll have no problems with breast milk, like, because I really want him to have breast milk. But I also know that doesn't work out for everyone. Some people just don't want to breastfeed. To each their own, it's your business. I'm not one of those judgy people, but that's my ultimate hope. We'll just call it hope, not a plan, because you can't really plan well for that stuff. Okay, so one of the questions was, am I planning on nursing? Kind of covered that with the other question. But then a second part to that question is, am I planning on getting an epidural? I'm just gonna say, I'm not trying to be a hero. I feel like, again, I can't really plan anything. I feel like it's, ideally, I would like to experience labor. I would like to, Justin's very concerned because he wants me to get epidural, because he's scared like that's gonna be so much pain for me on top of my fibro pain, and it comes from a place of concern from him. He's kind of nervous about me trying to do it naturally. I'm not too nervous about it, because living with daily pain, I feel like I handle pain and a lot differently than other people handle pain. Like, somebody will go through something and I'll go through the same thing, and they'll be like, oh my God, how are you functioning right now? And I feel like maybe having daily pain gives me a higher tolerance for pain that normal people can't deal with, if that makes sense. I don't know. So ideally, I'm just going to see how it goes. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I'm not trying to be a hero. If I feel like I'm gonna die or I can't handle it, I will probably get an epidural. But I'm gonna go in there with the best of intentions to just try to feel labor and experience that and see if I can handle it. Because if I feel like I can handle it, then probably not. But like I said, I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm not trying to be like, I'm gonna do this naturally. If I'm in too much pain, yeah, I'll probably get an epidural. But that's just, I don't know. We'll just see. I'm very crazy and type A and nutty about making plans usually. But with this kind of stuff, I'm just like, it's not in my control. And I just feel like I think Justin's almost like, what's going on with you? Because you're like way too just like, oh no, let's see what happens. But that's kind of where I'm at in my headspace on it. Let's see what happens. I don't know. So it would be cool if I could give birth without one. But if I need one, heck yeah, I'm gonna get one. I would love it if the hospital actually had, is it nitrous oxide? I've heard a lot of places are bringing that back. Now they don't keep it on you like at the dentist, you're not like high as a kite, but they let you take a few breaths to kind of like relax you a little bit, because a lot of what I've heard about is most labor is just like you panicking and you can't get past certain phases because you can't calm down. So if they offered that, I would totally probably do that, just to help me like and focus and get through it. But I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of have to see how it goes, and I'll let you guys know. But I'm very chill about this. I'm like, we'll see. Another question I got that was sent to me in inbox kind of privately was, and they were like, you don't have to answer it in the video if you don't want to. You can just respond. It was about pregnancy sex. So I feel like I'm not shy about talking about these things. We were finally able and released to have sex, because they would not let us have sex basically my whole pregnancy till 23 weeks because of my placenta where it was. And once it moved enough, they're like, okay, yeah, you can have sex now. And we both thought we'd be like, yeah, but we were both scared. We put it off, we put it off for a bit. And then we finally did, and it was a little awkward, you know, but then it was fine. It was different, it was way different because I don't know, I'm sure if you've been pregnant, you get it, but it's definitely different. And I never understood why people are like, you gotta get creative. And I'm sure when you're really big, you gotta get super creative, but it was, you know, strange at first, but then it worked out. So yeah, it's definitely different. I feel like maybe it wouldn't have been that awkward and strange and different had we been able to just continue our regular sex life when we're pregnant. But medically not being allowed to, and then 23 weeks go by and I felt like, yeah, no, you can do it. It was kind of strange and awkward, and yeah, so that's pretty much. And then after that, it's like you've gotten over that weird, feel like you're having sex with somebody for the first time or something, you know, you kind of get over that, and then it's I guess normal. It just depends on how you feel that day, how it goes. I don't know. I hope that answers your question. I mean, I'm not shy about these things, but I don't really know sometimes how to answer them, besides that's the best I got. Another question I got in my inbox was, what is it like to be pregnant after infertility? And I'm actually gonna do a whole video on that for you guys. I recorded one early in my pregnancy, but I was like, and I deleted it because I was like, I feel like I should get farther into it to really give a good, I don't know, example of, I don't know, do a good video. I just felt like at 12 weeks, I hadn't been pregnant that long to where I could, I don't know, really say everything I probably would want to say. So I'm probably gonna wait till about 30 weeks and then go ahead and do it. But I'm gonna do a whole video on that because infertility is still something that's super close to my heart. It's still important to me. I still have a lot of friends dealing with it. So I will, definitely, it's important for me to make a video about that because I always wondered that, what's it like to be pregnant? When you finally get pregnant and you know your baby is healthy, what is that like? So I am gonna do a video about it. But anyways, I think that is all. If I missed a question, I'm sorry. I was just going through my phone trying to find them all. I probably should have written them down. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I'll see you guys later. I hope that answered all your questions. Bye.